Okay, we'll do the, I'm working on these modified feathers here. And the way I do it is I don't draw the whole thing out. I did just mark a curve where they're going to be, and I do that because it just helps me keep on track. I could do it without, but I do better when I've got something to follow. And I use a Crayola wash away marker. It's a ultra clean washable Crayola marker, and they really do wash out, and they're easy to see. So I did a basic drawing on there. I have the machine set up for free motion quilting, and on this machine that means that I have set the stitch length to 0. You can't lower the feed dogs because this machine doesn't do that. So by doing that, it keeps the feed dogs from trying to advance the fabric. That way I can move it by my hands. I have my quilting foot in. Now, that looks like this. And I have a 1490 quilting needle in. I'm using 40 weight thread. I think that's it. So I'll start by following kind of loosely, not exactly, I don't have to follow it exactly, but I'll follow that line that I made first. And then I'll start quilting the little teeth or parts into that feather down one side and then back up the other. And then I travel back to the middle, and that's how I do it. So we follow the basic line that we drew there. And you can see I'm not following it exactly because I'm wanting it to be a little wider than I actually drew it. And now I'm going to start making those little jagged parts. So I'm going back and forth, and I'm not going super fast because frankly I find it works out a little better for me if I don't get too ahead of myself. Every time I try to end up going faster than I should, I regret it. In fact, I was getting so excited about how well it was going earlier that I broke 2 needles because I was pushing the fabric faster than it wanted to, and it screwed it up. So you can see I'm just making these little feather bits, and now I'll go back up this side, back and forth. Now, I'm doing this with only drawing that center line in there. You could draw the whole thing in there if you're more of a person who's concerned with being really accurate. I know some people have an easier time saying it's good enough than others. If you want it to be perfect, then you can certainly use a stencil or draw the whole thing in and be really accurate. I think it's fine this way. At least it is for me. This quilt's certainly never going to be in the show, so I'll only have to make myself happy with it. But once I get to the end, about there, now I'm going to go back around, following that center again, and that'll bring me back to the middle, where I'll go on to the next line, and sometimes you have to rearrange the quilt and get it ready, but back to the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing, making my little teeth parts, little points, and going around the curve. The other thing that I have found for myself, if you're doing anything kind of elaborate, I have an easier time doing it if my quilting thread is in contrast to my fabric. It's easier for me to see what I'm doing. If it matches, it's a lot harder. Now, having said that, if your thread matches your fabric, it's a lot harder to see your mistakes. So there's something to be said for both options. What I like to try to do is use a backing fabric that matches the thread. I'm not doing that in this case, and I wish I had, because I did make a few mistakes that kind of show more on the back because I've got a white backing. So back around, and now on to the last one in this particular hexagon. Now I did quilt between these triangles before I started, and that helps to hold it all together. What I should have done before I started this quilt is baste it more, because there's some fullness, extra looseness in this fabric that really would have been better if I'd basted it better. It wouldn't have showed, it wouldn't have had so much extra puffiness around here, but it's going to be fine. And again, all that red marker that I marked it with initially, that'll wash out. You won't see that when this is done. And I always wash my quilts as soon as I finish them. In fact, this one I'm going to wash before I even put the binding on it. That way I'll be able to do some blocking on it, which is to say, you kind of, while it's wet, you spread it out and let it kind of pin it in place and let it dry, and that flattens it out. After that, then I can do the binding, and it won't, it'll lay flatter that way. Anyway, just about done with this one. As we come around the edge, back to the point. And then we'll go back, down, to end up in the center where we started. So that's how I do that.